Says you're live. Okay, we'll try again. Little bit of technical failure here, but I hope this will be okay now. We'll start again. It says live. Sachi, can you respond? It's saying live, or Rasamanjari. You can drop something in the chat there just to confirm that we're actually on. It's saying live. Okay, we'll try. So if Rasamanjari can contact me as soon as she sees the video, or Sachi Didi. No, we'll start again. And we sing all together. Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyarishatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Gaura Prashtaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Keshaviti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Dvaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Oh, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gouda Hari Bol, Nitai Gouda Hari Bol. Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai. Oh, Jaya Sachi Nandan, Jaya Gouda Hari, Sachi Nandan, Jaya Gouda Hari. Oh, Jaya Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe. Oh, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Oh, Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Shri Shri Guru Garanga Ganhabhika Giridhari Radha Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai Satchinandana Gaudahari Ki Jai Nityananda Rai Ki Jai Jai Brishabhana Nandini Vajeshwari Radharani Ki Jai Jai Shila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sarashishi Mad Shila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sarashishi Mad Shila Bhaktivedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sarashishi Mad Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sarashishi Mad Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Shila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Saptam Goswami Shila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Jai Vaishnav Sabhaboma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Shila Baladev Vidyabhushan Gaudi Varantaracharya Ki Jai Jai Shila Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Treya Ki Jai Jai Shila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhata Dasa Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai Jai Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Gauda Parsada Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Siga Hosi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Shri Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Antadweep, Mayapur, Simantadweep, Gautandweep, Madhyadweep, Koladweep, Ritujit, Janadweep, Motandweep, Rudradweep, Atmaka, Navadweep, Dham Ki Jai. Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dwadasatma Martvika Shri Brajamandal Ki Jai. Radhakun, Shamakun, Ganga Jamuna Devi, Tulsi Devi, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shrimati Brinda Devi Maharani Ki Jai. Shrimati Yogamaya Purnamasi Devi Maharani Ki Jai. Jai Gopishwa Mahadev Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Ki Jai. Ketramandal Ki Jai. Sarva Vignas Vinashakari Shri Nrsingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai. Bhakta Pravar Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Charidam Ki Jai. Chari Sampradaya Ki Jai. Chari Acharya Ki Jai. Akada Mat Raj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai. Keshavji Gaudiya Mat Ki Jai. Grantaraj Shrimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Anantakoda Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Vatla Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Om Aginatimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Priya Surupe Dayata Surupe Prema Surupe Sahajabi Rupe Nijana Rupe Prabhueka Rupe Tana Rupe Swabila Surupe Anapita chirim chirat kurunavartino kalo samarpaitam unnata ujjvala rasam svabhakti shriyam Hari purata sundaratu tikatamba sadipita sadahridare kandare spuratu vasachinandanaha Yam pravajantamanapetyam apetya krityam dvaipaino viraha katara ajuhava putreti tam mayatayo tarvo binedustam sarvabhutam hridim munimanatoshmi Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshay shiptascha karmadi tarangamadye kripamayi tvam sharanam prapana vrinde namaste charanara vindam bhajami radham aravinda netram smarami radham madhurasmitasyam vadami radham karuna baradram tato mamanasti katyana kapi tavaivasmi najivami tvayivina iti vignaya radhe tvam nayamam charantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandava pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimad Shila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimad Shila Bhaktivedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada. And I'm offering again unto our beloved Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate, and to our illustrious Rupanuga Guru Vargya and all the Vaishnav and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. So I think at the beginning there was some sort of internet problem, but otherwise it was okay. So I was saying that it was the 25th of January and welcoming everybody, but it just got cut off. But we'll leave that. Okay, so we come to our Falshruti, which is on page 830. 830, Rishi. And we're on actually page 831 today. We're into the last 4 verses. This Falshruti is our Mangalacharyan for this Jaiva Dharma. When you're speaking Jaiva Dharma publicly yourselves, it's really helpful to chant some of these prayers just to get in touch with the contents of this granta and the way Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving great credence. Huh?
We did this yesterday.
Sorry?
We did this yesterday.
No, the last 4. We did the last 4. Did we really? What day is the day? Thursday. Friday. Yes, you're right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's why you have to come each night. Tell me. Okay. Okay, so we're on to the first 5. Sorry. First 5 on page 829. So, very good. Thank you for that. Pritivite yata kata dharma name chale, Bhagavata kahe sabai paripurna chale. As indicated in Srimad Bhagavatam 112, all the philosophies on earth that are celebrated as dharma are utterly deceptive. So immediately that will make a question in people's minds. What dharma, artha, karma, moksha? This means that this is to be rejected as nimitic. All the dharmas on earth, this is the except Jaiva Dharma and Vaishnava Dharma and Nitya Dharma. Everything else, it's just like we have in the Rai Ramananda Samvad. The first proposition by Rai Ramananda was Varnashram system. And this was Ekobai, rejected by Mahaprabhu. This is external. This is not the heart of where we're going. So these material dharmas are to be rejected. They're nimitic. So this is what this is meaning, to be utterly deceptive. They're deceptive in the sense that they pull you into the material platform. They pull you into the bodily platform. They make us act on the bodily platform, thinking that material dharma is of priority, of importance. But we hear in Jaiva Dharma, it's not. Chale dharma chadikara satya dharma mati chaturagya tyaji dara nitya prema gati. One should completely abandon such deceptive dharmas and absorb his mind in true dharma. In other words, one should give up the fourfold goals of material life, dharma, artha, karma, moksha, and aspire solely for the ultimate destination of nitya prem. These four are called the four purusarthas, but the fifth purusartha is prem. This is nitya prem, and this is our objective and our goal. We've probably had millions, not probably, we have had millions and billions of births in this material world, following all different types of dharmas in our lives. But in this time, in this birth, we have this remarkable opportunity to follow Nitya Dharma, as enunciated by Rupa Goswami and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They have laid it very clearly, opened it right out for us. So, and this Jaiva Dharma especially, just spells it out so clearly how we should behave in this world and what is our sambandha with Krishna and our relationship with Maya, the material energy also, and what in the Dasmula section, what is the Abhideya, how to proceed, and what is the final Rasatattva sections. All of this is described so clearly here. We have the whole package. It's described like putting the whole ocean into a jar. This is what this Jaiva Dharma is like. Amitva mimamsa brahme nija jada buddhi nirvishesha brahma gyan nayechira suri. Those who are deluded identify themselves with matter. That is their error. This is the delusion that we are attached to our body. Why? Because we're looking for pleasure through the material senses. So it's the body that's going to experience that pleasure. But that pleasure we know is Jad Anand. It's dull pleasure. And it has no place in this path of transcendence. So this is the place we are trying. It begins with controlling the mind. And we have to work diligently our whole lives through. Even as we get older, it becomes more difficult sometimes as the mind starts to wander through habits. And we have to constantly, Abhyasena to Kuntaya. When Arjuna asked this question, Krishna responded by renunciation and practice. In the 6th chapter, this is what he answered. By renouncing those objects of the senses, because the mind will go through the windows of the senses to enjoy whatever is there if we're not strong and fixed in our resolute determination to achieve transcendence. And if we just think it's okay, I'll just go through another birth in the material world. But what horrors are we opening ourselves up for? Because we're never sure. All right, so if we leave our bodies and we get a birth, even in a Vaishnava family, it's not assured that we're going to take to the path of bhakti yoga. It's not assured. Nothing is assured. But now, while we have our faculties clear and we have these scriptures in front of us, we can make a clear decision that this is how I want to travel in this birth. This is what I want to do. And then it requires diligent, daily checking. and pulling ourselves into this path. Raja Vidya Rajaguyam Pavitram Itamutamam Pratyakshavagaman Dharmyam. That by direct perception, these truths will become revealed to us. This is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. By direct perception, we'll see it. And then that will give us a deeper shraddha and a deeper hold onto our journey. Shraddha is always increasing. It's evil. It's the mind is evolving on the platform of shraddha. Shraddha Shabde Vishvasa Koi Sudrita Nishchoy. This shraddha will give us confidence, sudrita, vishchoy, in this path, our faith. And our faith will be increasing if we're anxious daily to connect. If that hunger is there, that greed is there, without that lolyam, then nothing on the path of rag will transpire. We'll just remain in the environment of Vaidhi Bhakti, just following rules and regulations, and not really opening the channel of the heart in connection with the divine couple, because it's all based on fear. The path of Vaidhi Marg is solely prompted by fear. If I don't do this, then the sky will drop on my head. If I don't do this, then I'll be born in a bad body, whatever. If I don't do this, then this fruit won't come. So it's all being pushed and prompted and propelled by fear. This is not a place of the heart. The heart wants to find that channel which is open and looking for this connection with the Lord. This path is only about love. When we consider the loving relationship between Radha and Krishna, how much does Radha love Krishna? Every atom of her being is only focused on bringing Krishna pleasure. And Krishna is like that with not as much as Radhika, because Krishna is Bahushaka. He's actually loving many people, although Mother Yashoda, Nanda Baba, all the other gopis, so many. But Shri Radhika is one-pointed. But their attraction to each other is just so excellent. And we were describing yesterday, when you read this in Vidagdha Madhav in particular, and Lalit Madhav also, and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the books of Rupa Goswami, he describes this immensity, this enormity of love between Radha and Krishna. When we chant Hare Krishna, what is that about? Hare and Krishna meeting, and then Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, separation. So this is the dynamic of this loving exchange. The separation will give fuel to the joy and ecstasy of the meeting. Without the separation, then meeting will not be happening, basically. That the exhilaration of the meeting cannot be there. So there has to be, in the 24 hours of Krishna's pastimes in Braj, 12 hours practically exactly are in a mood of separation, and 12 hours are in a mood of meeting. When Krishna goes to the cow grazing pastures, Radhika, she's meditating on meeting Krishna, but she's not with Krishna. When they're in Madhyana Lila at Radhakund for 5 hours in the middle of the day, then this is like union. Then they're meeting with each other. There's no elders around. And in Nishanta Lila also, and in Ratri Lila, these 3 Leelas of the day, this approximately makes up 12 hours of the day. But in Purvana Lila, when Krishna goes cow grazing, Prata Lila, when Krishna comes home after Nishanta Lila, and then Apurvana Lila afterwards, when he calls the cows, etc. Then Syayam Lila, this Goduli, when he enters the cowherd village of Braj. He's seeing Radharani sometimes, but they're not having that intimacy of connection, which they have in Madhyana Lila and Ratri Lila and Nishanta Lila. So in that Hare Krishna mantra, there's also a meeting and separation. So we have every opportunity to be meditating on what is the nature of that divine love between those two. The whole spiritual world, the atmosphere, is only made of love. We can't even imagine it in this dull material world where everything is inflicting pain on us. We cannot even practically conceive of a world which exists with no envy. It's this envious mentality. This material world is crackling with envy. Everywhere and everyone is practically envious of somebody. It's very rare you'll meet a non-envious person. It's very rare. The Vaishnavas, they are non-envious. Most of them, many of them, not all. We're understanding here in this chapter 8 to discriminate. What is Kanishta? What is Madhyam? What is Kanishta Madhyam? What is Madhyam Madhyam? What is Uttam Madhyam? And then what is Uttam Kanishta? What is Uttam Madhyam and Uttam Uttam? All these different, very sensitive distinctions.
That original envy is coming with Krishna.
Enviousness of Krishna, yes. We turned away from Krishna. Vimuk. That's the equation that I was saying the other day. Do you remember it? Vimuk, we turn away. And as soon as you turn away, because when we're with Krishna, we're full of anand. We are by nature Satchit Anand. That's our nature. Our essential being is made of that bliss. But when that bliss is functioning, so to speak, when we're in connection with Krishna. But as soon as we turn away, that propensity of bliss, the jiva has to look for somewhere else to get that bliss. So then it's described that material desires spring in the heart. And as soon as material desires spring, equals suffering. Because I'm spirit. How can I enjoy matter? How can my soul enjoy matter? It's like a pretense. We think we're enjoying something, but the next second there's absolute suffering and pain. But most of the time we're not even thinking we're enjoying something. Most of the time we're just under a cover of suffering if we're not connecting.
It seems like that envy is like it seems innocence, like an innocent envy, or not knowing what you, like a child kicks the mother in the womb, not knowing, like, how much are
But
we.
there's something behind it,
Hmm.
because it's described actually by Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj that most of the souls manifesting in that Brahmand region go back straight away immediately to the spiritual world. Most of them are not envious. Most of them go back to the spiritual world. But those wayward ones who actually are envious, because it might seem innocent initially, but then as it funnels out, as it opens out, it seems like, you see a house. Oh, I want that house. You see a car. I want that car. All these material objects, these are prompted by envy. Someone else has them, and yet I want them. I want to be the enjoyer, like Krishna is the enjoyer. It's a whole change of consciousness from the essential I to this. The I is still there. This is the incredible understanding of Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. The character of the jiva is still there in the spiritual world, but his whole heart is focused on pleasing and serving Krishna. That's his greatest joy and happiness. But in this world, it's unheard of to just want someone else's happiness. We may materially feel like that with our relatives, but even that is conditioned by the fact that they are my relatives. It's like they say that the highest consideration of love in this material world is a mother for her child. The mother will rise like at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning and feed the child and not have any problem with that. The child will vomit over her, but she will never reject the child like that. But she's not going to do this with every child in the street. It's only because it's her child. So there's that, it's called a mamata or ahankta, that identification with self. Even though it looks from the material point of view like love, but there's conditioning there because it's only conditioned for the individual. We discussed all this in the last chapter, this samsara. Do you remember the etymology? You said one etymology, but I posted another one.
Yeah, I was looking also.
Do you remember what it was?
Not what you posted. No, I didn't see that.
You're not on our WhatsApp thread, are you? I'm posting so many things every night, every day after the classes with different verses and so on and diagrams, just to sort of open out the teachings of the class. And I just remembered today that I was going to prompt you about it. I have to put you on.
So the envy can be measured by the intensity of material desires.
Absolutely. The more we are greedy for material objects, the more envious we're going to become. And then we slip over into complete demonic mentality, where you'll take anything at any cost and hurt anybody at any cost for your own agenda. That's a demon. And a demon is only governed by two things: fear and the desire to control. These are the two qualities of demons. So if you see that atmosphere anywhere, leave. If someone is trying very hard to control you, like demonic governments, etc., and trying to make you afraid, oh, if you don't take the jab, you'll die, etc., etc., engendering fear everywhere. These are the two, like a ghost. A ghost also. What is the weapon of a ghost? He only has one weapon, and that's fear. He wants to intimidate. So it's all in the dark region. So this envy, what you mentioned, it's all coming from that one point, that one speck, so to speak.
Fear?
Huh?
Fear?
No, of envy.
Oh,
It all is arising from envy. Ultimately, the fear comes from envy. Everything is coming from the envy. All Shastra is concurring with this. That this principle, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada will always say, we are here because of envy. We turned away because of envy. And I could never really understand it until more recently when I've appreciated it now. I've appreciated how envious I am. And once you appreciate the enemy within us, then we can start to purify it. But if we think, oh, I'm not envious, then you'll never purify anything that might be there.
one time I read something by Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. He said how the soul is neutral, and it could go either this way or that way. He's
Yes.
like, there's an indifference,
Yes.
but he can't stay there forever.
No.
He has to make a choice.
That's right.
Sooner or later.
That's right. That's like, there's a beautiful essay, and I'm going to post it on our WhatsApp thread afterwards. It's called Before Material Designation by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. This is where you got what you just said from. You just reminded me. And he's saying that we are in a state of shantaras. That means Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na sochati na kanchati. No suffering, no lamentation, no anything like that. We're completely
Pure.
not pure, because there's no relationship with Krishna. It's just like a blob, like the Nirvishesh Brahm. That's Shantaras in the Brahma Jyoti. And then in that place, then you're prompted at one point you're confronted to actually come to Krishna or not go to Krishna. That's called the great decision. But what we have to always appreciate, that this decision was not historic. I've said this many times. This decision is going on 100 times a day when we turn away from Krishna. I can do this towards Krishna, or I can turn away from Krishna. It wasn't just back billions of years ago that we made this. And some people say, well, why do I have to suffer for a decision I made? So many objections may come up, but the point is, what are we doing today? Today, are we turning fully to Krishna with our full heart, soul, and mind, with everything? Have we managed to gather our resources in a focused fashion and just focus on pleasing the Lord? We're carrying usually so much baggage that we want to work this out, want to work that out. I said a few times, Bhakti Rakshashita Maharaj, he says they're like mushrooms growing in the dark. Mushrooms have no roots, and they're very easy to pull out. So these apparent material attachments are very easy to pull out, actually, when we get the attraction to Krishna. It's the attraction to Krishna that's going to purify that deep, deep, deep-rooted envy of Krishna. So it's on all kinds of different levels, but that's the seed. Very good. That's like you said. It's true. It's true. Okay. We'll have to go ahead. Which verse were we up to? Oh, that is their error. However, one cannot be purified of such delusion by endeavors for nirvishesh brahm gyan. Nirvishesh brahm gyan is almost like trying to go back to that place where I originally made that decision, where there's like nothing happening as far as relationship with Krishna is concerned. The spirit soul is there, and he's in a forgetful state of Krishna's beauty and speciality. And in that forgetfulness, he still wants to enjoy. That's what we've already described. It's the nature of the jiva to enjoy. So he's enjoying the bliss of Brahman. And that's a totally neutral zone, like you described. Shantaras. There's nothing going on there.
But there's pleasure of some sort.
Yes, Brahm Anand. There's the bliss of Brahm Anand, the bliss of nothingness, so to speak. Because there's no pain and there's no happiness either. That
There's
Brahm,
a peace.
it's Shantaras. And this is what most spiritual groups outside of the Hare Krishnas are looking to attain, isn't it?
Buddhism and Christianity seems like they're also some Buddhism. Buddhist seems like they're,
Buddhists, they annihilate it completely. But Christianity, I've read many of the Christian mystics, and they actually go towards that light. They talk about that divine light. It's actually the Brahman. I've read Thomas Merton in particular, and it's like he gets into the Brahman for a while, but then he starts to question it, and immediately, of course, it just collapses. As soon as your intellect comes in, you lose it. That's the condition. But we don't want to go to the Brahman, because in the Brahman, there's no question of connecting with Krishna, because you're actually in the illusion of complete happiness. Na sochiti, na kanchati. There's no lamentation and no hankering, no desire. If you have no desire, you're completely happy. There's nothing, like a blob. That's the Nirvishesh Brahm. So if you want to go back into the Nirvishesh Brahm, that's tragic. My Gurudev, he described it as like if you cook chickpea seeds in a frying pan, they get cooked forever. They'll never regrow. Once you get cooked in that Brahman, you can't again resurrect the idea of relationship. He said that one time in Mathura, and we were all like blown away by it. And then 4 days later, he came back and he said, except if one great sadhu like Narada Rishi or Parvat Muni come through the celestial airwaves, and by the mercy of their lotus feet, you come in contact with that, then the desire to love will awaken in your heart. That's the first desire, to love. But where are you going to place that love? So then we spiral back down into this material. We're looking for love. That's what everyone in the material world is looking for. They know that's what's going to make them the happiest, but they're looking in the wrong direction. They're looking for a boy-girl relationship, or have a nice house thing, or this object or that object. Something material will fill that hole, that fame, etc. A lot of people look through there, Pratishta. They think that if I become famous, then I'll become happy.
People will love me.
People will love me. Yeah. That's it. People will love me. We're looking for that. We just want Guru to love us and the Vaishnavas to support us. And we in turn, of course, always love is a two-way street. If we're putting out that affection for Guru and the Vaishnavas, then it's going to be reciprocal. But if we're not schooled and educated in this science, we just simply won't do it. This next verse is beautiful. The Mayavad thinks Sri Krishna to be subject to the limitations of time, such as birth and death, because they have no consciousness of transcendence. They can only put the Lord in this material time bracket. Otherwise, or either that, or they push the conception out into the Brahman, beyond. It's like the Devas. They all worship the Brahman. Brihaspati is described as being Brahman realized. So all the Devas, their ultimate, Krishna, Vishnu comes many times in Swagaloka. But the Devas, they acknowledge Vishnu is a great personality, but they can't become devoted to him, just like Indra. He tries to murder the inhabitants of Vrindavan and goes and piteously cries at Krishna's lotus feet afterwards and asks forgiveness. And a few weeks later, Krishna just asked him for a parijat flower, and he says no. What was that? That their devotion, because their spiritual master is Brahman realized, so they can't go beyond that. It's only from this karma yoni, the species who incur karma on this level, can reach transcendence. In the heavenly planets, it's called Bhoga Yoni. The species, Yoni means species. Bhoga is to enjoy. So they're enjoying in Swagaloka. And in the lower planets, it's called Papa Yoni. They're sinful species. And considers that he is not transcendental, because a Mayavad can't comprehend transcendence beyond himself. Thus, he rejects Bhagavan's ivichrata, astonishing characteristics, paraphernalia, qualities, and lila. Isn't that beautifully put? If you reject the pastimes between Radha and Krishna and think that they're anything other than divine, then you're going to be deprived of the greatest opportunity to connect with transcendence. If you think their pastimes are exaggerated or something like that, then you're just going to be deprived. It's this astonishment we've spoken of many times, like a child is always astonished. If it trata, a hard time with my tongue on that one. If it trata, a child is filled with astonishment. Everything is full of wonder and magic. And all that just gets lost if you merge into the Brahman. You don't have that wonderment because you're not wanting anything. But in the spiritual world, you want so much. You want service to Krishna. The gopis are full of anxiety. How to satisfy Krishna's calm. They're thinking that every single day. How can we satisfy Krishna? This is the truth. Paraphernalia, qualities, and lila. Through this vicious attempt, he is left with the philosophy of Nirvishesh Brahm. Just there. And it's a tragedy that most spiritual seek, because people are prompted by the suffering of the material world to seek liberation. That's the first step. They want to get liberation. But what is liberation? It's like if you're banging your head against the wall and then you stop banging, you think, well, now I'm liberated. There's nothing there except a cessation of pain and misery. But that's not our path. It's described in Jaiva Dharma. It's just a link in the chain to connecting with the highest conception of Goloka Vrindavan.
Is it also the idea that they've connected with eternality?
Yes, in the Brahman, you connect with eternality. But I described the other day, Krishna is so wonderful. Do you remember what I said about the Jiva who goes into the Brahmajyoti and he annihilates himself, and the spark of that infinitesimal Jivatma, it enhances Krishna's Brahmajyoti. So the Jiva is still serving. You cannot escape from this absolute irrevocable fact that you're a servant of Krishna, even in the Brahman ultimately. Your spark, it's described this by Rupa Goswami in his Lagu Bhavanamrita. That spark is enhancing Krishna's Brahmajyoti. I find that astonishing. Kanda gyane hoya dharma ache sunishchaya prakriti hoile kabu aprakritanaya. Such base and contemptible gyan, which arises out of an attempt to dismember the divine form of Bhagavan, is only fit to be rejected. It is prakrita, materialistic, and should never be given credence as aprakat dhan. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is really laying it out in this whole Falshruti. Every single verse, very, very powerful. This is why we've been going through this since May. That's almost like 10 months. Every single day I've been reading these verses, every single day. And every single day, I'm astonished at the differences between each verse. Every day we've been speaking on it. I don't know how many days that makes, hundreds of days. So there are hundreds of meanings that can be squeezed out of something that is purely transcendental, because it's without end. And Jaiva Dharma content is the same. So now we've come to our subject for the day, which is chapter 8. And Haridas Mahashai Babaji is describing to the young devotee, Nityananda, about the distinctions between the Vaishnavas, how to properly honor Vaishnavas, we can't respect Vaishnavas fully until we understand the platform of the Vaishnavas. So on page 169, we're on. So the last thing we read was this beautiful verse. I'm going to read it again because it's so important. My Gurudev would have us speak this verse at every single festival he ever went to, because he wanted to establish fully what is Shuddha Bhakti. Unless you know what is Shuddha Bhakti, what sort of practice can you have to attain Shuddha Bhakti? So in this verse, Anya Bilasita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anavritam, Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam, Bhakti Uttama, Bhakti Uttama. This is Uttam Bhakti. That means it's not Arope Siddha Bhakti. It's not Sangha Siddha Bhakti. It's Swarup Siddha Bhakti. Swarup Siddha Bhakti is that Uttam Bhakti with no Gyan consideration and no karma desires. Karma, Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. These are expelled. So Rupa Goswami has given us this verse. This Anyabilas, no desires, completely, Shunyam, beyond, which you could refer to as being the Brahman also, where you have no desires. But there's no Krishna there also, because it's the second two lines of this is called the Swarup Lakshan. The first two are called the Tatashta Lakshan, the external consideration. The second two are called the Swarup Lakshan, that's the internal consideration. And this is Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam, this service with mood, with bhav, favorably, for Krishna's pleasure, exactly as the gopis perform. We are trying to follow in the footsteps of Krishna's beloved gopis. This is why Krishna came with his gopis, to show us directly. Follow them. Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusyam deha ashrita. Bhajate tat rishi kritva yashrutva tatparo bhavet. This Krishna is saying that he manifests to demonstrate the wonderment of his pastimes, to attract the jivas to service to him, and particularly the gopis, because they're pleasing Krishna the most.
He sent Uddhava
Huh?
He sent Uddhava to check it out, isn't it? Come and blade the grass.
He wanted Uddhav to see the height of the gopis' prem, because in Dwarka and Mathura, they were considering that they had the highest prem for Krishna. They considered that they had the topmost love. So Uddhav came to Braj for 6 or 7 months, and he understood that he wasn't even on the map as far as prem is concerned. My Gurudev used to describe regularly like somebody wearing a hat looking so high up, the hat drops off your back of your head at the height of the love of the gopis in Uddhav Keri in particular, when he came for that time. When he sees Srimati Radhika in that bewildered state, Divyan Mad, completely lost her mind practically, and then speaking Chitra Jalpa, these 10 verses of Chitra Jalpa, this Vijalpa, Ujalpa, Sajalpa, Chitra Jalpa, all these different Jalpas, Sun Jalpa, just bewildered talks. She's seeing a bumblebee coming, and she's thinking that the bumblebee is either Krishna or a messenger from Krishna, or is Uddhav himself. But she's not thinking like that. She's just thinking the bumblebee has come from Krishna. And she's chastising the bumblebee. And this is extraordinary. Her moods. And Uddhav is witnessing that. And then Krishna knows that Uddhav will come back and speak these truths to the Dwarkavasis. The name Uddhav means festival of joy. Uddhav gives so much joy to all the residents of Mathura and Dwarka. So much pleasure and bliss. He's a Jnani Bhakta in the sense that he understands Krishna's Aishwarya entirely. He understands how great he is. When he comes into the house of Nanda Baba and Mother Yashoda, Nanda Baba's completely beside himself because they're all feeling absolute devastation. And Uddhav's trying to tell Nanda Baba, Krishna's not really your son. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nanda Baba thinks, who is this person? Doesn't he know? Where is his heart? Where's his connection? But this is what a Jnani Bhakta will think. Like Bhishma Dev is the same. They think that Krishna is that supreme, mighty, person that you cannot have a relationship. Most people practicing this path prior to Mahaprabhu thought the same. They were on the path and road of Vaidhi Bhakti. Jad Bharat is the same in 5th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. All thinking that Krishna is that supreme personality of Godhead. And remember, my Gurudev used to tell us all the time, your Prabhupada, he's come to teach you that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. And I've come to teach you that he's not. That is so deep expression, because we had to know who was the supreme personality of Godhead first. If you don't get that first from Srila Prabhupada, you won't understand the second part. He gave the platform. He gave a we didn't even know who was God. Certainly not this bluish boy, and no conception at all. So he taught us who was Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, so we would have full honor and respect for him. But then, if you want to come to him through the path of Raganuga Bhakti, which is what Mahaprabhu has come to specifically give us, we can't do that without the Mahamantra. He's given us the means to reach that stage of consciousness through the Mahamantra and through the teachings of Rupa Goswami. What will be inspired by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, if you're a serious practitioner, is greed, hunger. Krishna bhakti rasabhavitamati kriyatam yati talapyate tatra lolyam api mulyam tatra mulyam janma koti sukritya labhyate. Remember that verse? I put it on the thread. You don't. These verses we put up are good to actually become familiar with. This is the first verse in the Rai Ramananda Samvad that Mahaprabhu is saying, oh, that's okay. This verse is saying, if you find anyone who has that greed, lolyam, then you should make all endeavor in your life to hear those teachings. Because it's that quality of greed, hunger, to wake up, that loving propensity towards Krishna, that is going to give us entrance into Raganuga Bhakti. Krishna, Mahaprabhu hasn't come to propagate Vaidhi Bhakti. Advaita Acharya could do like that. Nityananda can do like that. But Raganuga Bhakti, that is Mahaprabhu's personal gift. Premras niryase korite ashwadan rag mag bhakti loke karite prachan. He's come to give the jivas this Raganuga Bhakti in this world. That's why he's come. He hasn't come to give Vaidhi Bhakti. Understand, if there's so much Aishwarya and awe and reverence, there's like a cement wall around us as far as relationship is concerned. What's the atmosphere in Vaikuntha? It's all Aishwarya. It's the 3.5 rasas of Shantaras and Dasyaras principally, a little bit of Sakyaras, but it's 4 glorious stages of liberation. Sarupya, Samipya, Sharsti, Salokya. These are the 4 liberated conditions in Vaikuntha. And we read in Brihat Bhagavatamrita, Gop Kumar, he's in the assembly with Lord Narayan. and he wants to play his flute and dance around, they'll say, shush, 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 shush. We're singing sacred mantras here. Don't behave like that. Don't act spontaneously. That's restricted because everyone is in awe and veneration of the Lord. And the Lord likes that mood. That's why Vaikuntha exists. And most jivas want to go to that place also. It's very rare that anyone wants to go to Goloka Vrindavan. It wasn't even heard of practically before Mahaprabhu advented. Jaidev Goswami mentions it to some degree, but practically there's no Bilva Mangala Thakur is there, but very, very few are anxious to go to that place without the Aishwarya. The Aishwarya is almost like a security cover for us. If we think about it deeply.
It's an attraction, though. It's a certain type of
Yes,
attraction.
very good, very good. It is. It's a certain, yes, it's like in church. Yes, I'm worshiping. I feel great worshiping. It's like the worshipful Lord. But the conception of sambandha or relationship that Rupa Goswami and Mahaprabhu unlock and open, they're opening something new. It's as if this has never been come before. Even Jaidev Goswami couldn't write that verse. Remember? Smaragarala Kandanam, Mama Sirasi Mandanam, Dehi Padapalavam, Udaram. He couldn't write that Krishna is putting his flute and peacock feather at the lotus feet of Sri Radhika. How can he do that? Krishna's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can he put his head at the lotus feet of Sri Radhika? How can he do like that? And then he left, and then Krishna himself had to come and write that verse. He didn't write it, Krishna wrote it. These are things that we should think.
It's here in Mayapur, isn't it?
Huh?
It's quite close to here, that place. Yes.
Champahat, yes. It's the other direction from Mayapur, out on the road to Samudraga, towards Kalna, Katwa. We're not getting very far in our chapter today, and it's almost time to stop. My God, it is time to stop. This is because today I'm very blessed because I have two senior devotees in front of me, and we're getting good questions, and I just can't walk away from a deep inquiry. Naturally, the devotees become inspired when they hear inspirational questions and etc. So it's your fault that we have hardly covered any
I
ground.
have more questions.
But I haven't even started it. We haven't even come to the place where we were yesterday, and we're just about to finish too. One more question then.
Okay. So some people say at the end of Srila Prabhupada's life, he wanted to introduce he said 50% of my life was not completed, that I didn't do Vanashram.
Exactly. Yes.
So it seems like Prabhupada had a compassionate mood for the whole world.
Absolutely.
To bring them in.
Absolutely. This Rag Marg is very, very exclusive. It's likened to the Christian mystics or something like that, or the Sufis in Islam. It's a very much minority. It's not that everyone ever will get on the path of Raganuga Bhakti. But if we are intelligent followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we should have some interest in why Mahaprabhu has come. For what purpose has he come? Prabhupada has laid the foundation for the whole globe. Absolutely, Rishi. Totally.
Yeah.
The most compassionate, munificent personality. And he wanted to implement again this Varnashram system, because we've talked a lot about Varnashram, and it has great qualities. Of course it has great qualities, but it's not nitya. It's naimitic. It's temporary. It's about the body. My body is a Brahman. My body is a Vaishya. My body is a Sudra. My body is a Kshatriya.
But it brings you to respect.
It can elevate you. Yes, that's why Varnashram is necessary. It's like Karma Yoga or Gyan Yoga. They're necessary because they're links on the path to Bhakti Yoga. But if you take one out separately and say, no, it's just Karma Yoga, let's just follow Karma Yoga, then you've got a whole different movement. And if you just take out Gyan Yoga, then you've got all the yogis. You've got another movement. They're all a continuous steps on a ladder. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur has brought out in 3 chapters, very, very clearly, this ladder. So Varnashram is a step, like this Rai Ramananda Samvad is complete. in all the conceptions, because it leads to the highest conception of describing Radharani's 3 baths in the day: the bath of compassion initially, and then the bath of youthfulness, and then the bath of beauty. I mean, such esoteric topics are there. Who, if someone thinks that Prabhupada didn't write about these most deepest subject matters, then they have to read Chaitanya Charitamrita. But this path of Ramananda Rai, it goes from Banashram, then to Karma Yoga, then Gyan Yoga, then Gyan Sunya Yoga, etc. All these step by steps are there. And then it comes to that verse that I said, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati. Kriyata. That means if you hear of these topics going on anywhere, run to them. Because that's what the heart needs. The heart only wants love. But won't find it in the material world. It'll get burnt again and again and again.
We love it.
We love it. Yeah, we do. We love the journey. That's why we stay here. It's true. Okay. So I hope everyone can tolerate that we didn't read very much of Jaiva Dharma tonight, but these are all topics surrounding the teachings of Jaiva Dharma, and it's healthy to bring them out in different circumstances. So thank you all so much for your attention. So now we'll just sing 3 times the Mahamantra to close the door. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Gaura Haribol, Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Gaura Haribol, Gaura Premanandi, Haribol, Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhaveva Patitanam Pavnibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha.